There is a pilot somewhere flying a 767 freighter tonight who's going to make more money this year than most doctors, and he's doing it without a single passenger on board. In 2026, UPS wide-body captains are making $401 an hour. FedEx 777 captains are clearing over $360,000 a year. Now, these are not exaggerated numbers. They're published figures on the internet, and you can find them yourself. And the cargo industry right now is bigger than it was before the pandemic. So the opportunity is real, the jobs are definitely real, and the money is most definitely real. But here's the question nobody actually answers. How do you get there? Because cargo is not just a straightforward career path, it's a ladder, and most pilots don't even know how many rungs their ladder are on the ladder, much less which ones they can skip. So in this video, I want to unpack the whole thing from the bottom rung all the way to that $400 an hour seat and the one mistake that keeps most pilots from ever reaching it. Before we talk about pay and career paths, let's talk about who cargo makes sense for. Cargo is a good fit if you want to get into larger aircraft sooner than the typical airline allows, if you think long-term about pay, and if you don't mind working without passengers. The wide-body timeline in cargo can be faster than at a passenger carrier depending upon how you build your career. The trade-off is the schedule. A lot of cargo flying happens at night. Packages need to arrive in the morning, so the planes fly overnight. If you've got a family at home and you need to be there for school pickups and soccer games, that overnight lifestyle might be harder than it sounds on paper. Cargo also makes a lot of sense if you're thinking long term. The pay at the top of the cargo is genuinely as good as it gets in aviation. But getting there takes time and the right moves. So if you're impatient and just want the best sounding job as fast as possible, well, you might make a couple of choices that actually slow you down. Let's start at the top because that's where most people want to understand. UPS captain pay reaches $401 an hour as of the end of 2025. First officer pay is around $284 an hour. UPS operates 767s, 47s, 57s, and Airbus A300s. It's an all-wide-body fleet of around 270 or so aircraft. FedEx is in the same tier. FedEx runs the biggest dedicated cargo airline fleet in the world, over 380 aircraft. Pay is comparable to UPS. When you add in retirement benefits and profit sharing, UPS and FedEx are about as well paid as it gets in this industry. Now here's the part that most people don't know about getting hired at either one. FedEx wants 1,500 hours total fixed wing time. They prefer 1,000 hours of PIC in a jet or multi-engine turboprop aircraft that's 12,500 pounds or more, and they have a 500-hour PIC minimum in those same qualifying categories. They also prefer a bachelor's degree. UPS is very similar. They want a minimum of 1,000 hours PIC in fixed-wing jet or multi-engine turboprop. Competitive candidates typically have 4,000 hours plus of total time. UPS also highly prefers a bachelor's degree. Both companies are looking for experienced pilots with real turbine time, no Cessna 172 hours. Both also have hard bases. You have to live near the base or be willing to commute to it. The top of the cargo area of aviation is a legitimate dream outcome. It's real money, real career stability. But UPS and FedEx, they're the end of the ladder, not the beginning. And a lot of pilots don't understand what the ladder underneath them actually looks like. Cargo breaks into 3 levels, and understanding them is the most important thing in this video. Tier 1 is UPS and FedEx, highest pay, strongest reputation. These are the jobs that people are talking about when they say they want to fly cargo for a living. Tier 2 is the contract cargo operators. This includes Atlas Air, ATI, ABX Air, Amerijet, and a handful of others. Think of these as the low-cost carriers of the cargo world. They operate wide-body aircraft, 767s, 47s, 57s, and 777s, and they're often doing what's called ACMI flying, which stands for Aircraft Crew Maintenance and Insurance. In other words, they provide aircraft and crews to other carriers under a contract. Now here's something a lot of people miss about Tier 2. Amazon Air is one of the biggest forces in cargo right now. and companies like ATI and ABX are the ones that are actually flying those Amazon routes. ATI is the primary carrier for Amazon Air. ATI, ABX, and Omni Air International are all owned by the same parent company, ATSG. So when you hear about Amazon's cargo network growing, that's jobs at these Tier 2 operators. Tier 3 is the feeder and bridge jobs, Part 135 cargo, turboprop freight. This level is dominated by Mountain Air Cargo, Empire Airlines, and Ameriflight. You need to meet Part 135 captain minimums to fly for these companies, and both FedEx and UPS have formal pathway programs at this level. More on that in a minute. Now, there's nothing wrong with choosing cargo. The mistake is thinking that all cargo jobs are on the same level. A 767 job at a Tier 2 operator, it's not the same outcome as a 767 job at UPS. The airplane might be the same, but the paycheck isn't even close. Let's talk numbers for Tier 2. Year 1 first officer base pay at Tier 2 is about $67,000. Top pay caps around $266,000. Those are the base numbers before extras. A Year 2 first officer on a decent schedule can pull in about $100,000 a year base, and with overtime and extra pay, maybe closer to $120,000. Atlas Air starts all first officers at around $98 an hour, regardless of the fleet type, 747, 77, or 67. They have a 64-hour monthly minimum guarantee, positive space airline tickets for commuting, company-paid hotels before and after trips, and business class deadheading on trips longer than 4.5 hours. ATI operates 57s and 67s, mainly flying Amazon Air routes. They have a 60-hour monthly guarantee across 13 bid periods per year. ATI requires an unrestricted ATP with 1,500 hours of total time, including 500 hours of multi-engine time. ABX Air hires directly into the 767 first officer seat. Unrestricted ATP, 1,500 hours of fixed wing, first class medical, valid passport. Their current posted rate is about $104 an hour. Now, most Tier 2 operators are home-based, meaning you can live wherever you want to. The schedules are also more relaxed. Pilots at this level rarely fly more than 60 hours a month, often much less. And some of these companies have a 14% retirement match. So it's less pay than UPS, but more flexibility and more time at home. So that's the trade-off. So here's the takeaway. You can get into a wide-body cargo job before UPS or FedEx, and that's actually the normal path. You get into Atlas or ATI or ABX, and you're going to build 767 and 57 time, and then you're going to use that to make yourself competitive for that top tier. Both FedEx and UPS have built structured pathways from the feeder level to the main line. FedEx has the Purple Runway program. You get hired at a FedEx feeder operator, companies like Mountain Air Cargo, Empire Airlines, IFL Group, or Corporate Air, and you fly ATR turboprops, Cessna Caravans, and Sky Couriers on the FedEx feeder routes. After a minimum of 36 months and 500 hours as PIC in a multi-engine turboprop aircraft, you become eligible for a guaranteed flow-through to FedEx as a first officer. Now, you still have to pass the interview and the testing, but this is a direct pipeline. It's not a maybe. And you don't need a bachelor's degree to join the program. An associate's degree gets you in, and it doesn't even have to be in aviation. UPS has the Flight Path program through Ameriflight. You fly turboprops, build your time, get your ATP and type rating, and after 1,500 hours of turbine PIC time, preferably with at least 500 in the EMB 120 or similar crew aircraft, you become eligible to interview at UPS Airlines. These programs do take years. They're not shortcuts, but they're structured and they work. So if cargo's your goal, they're worth looking at seriously. This is the section that most pilots skip, and it's probably the most important one. Total hours matter, but they don't tell the whole story. The pilots who get hired faster and into better jobs are usually the ones who built better time, not just more time. So here's what operators are actually looking at. Turbine time, multi-engine time, time in a real operational environment, multi-crew experience, real IFR in the system time, clean and organized logbooks that are easy to audit, and of course, a professional record with no surprises. FedEx own pilot page makes this actually pretty darn clear. They don't frame their minimums as just, hit 1,500 hours and then apply. Instead, they specifically want PIC time in qualifying equipment, not Cessna 172 time, not pattern work at the local flight school, time in equipment that matters. Atlas and ABX both require ATP level entry with a clean professional record. And I want to mention an interview that we recently did with a pilot by the name of Philip, who is now flying the 767 in an Amazon-facing cargo operation. He said that the thing that changed his trajectory more than anything else was getting into Part 135 turbine flying as early as he could, not stacking more CFI hours, not waiting for the magic 1,500 hour number, but getting into turbine multi-engine time as fast as he could and using that to move forward. He said multi-engine turbo time made him significantly more competitive for every opportunity he looked at from that point on. Philip went straight from being a CFI to flying a 767, not by waiting for the perfect opportunity, but by taking the next best one available and making sure it moved the needle on the type of time that was in his logbook and on his resume. Quick question for you before we continue with the video. Please do drop a comment and tell me two things: how many hours you have right now and whether you're leaning towards cargo or passenger airlines. I do read every comment, and your feedback genuinely helps me to figure out what videos to make next so that you guys aren't having to just guess your way through all these decisions. Thanks very much. Now let's get back to the video. Cargo looks really great on paper, and it is really great for the right person. But there are some real trade-offs that a lot of people undersell when they describe this particular career path. The good stuff is, well, bigger aircraft, no passengers, home basing at some companies, positive space commuting, longer trips instead of tons of short legs every day. What the brochure doesn't mention is that a lot of cargo flying, well, it's going to be done at night. The FAA's own fatigue guidance says alertness and decision-making are both worse during the hours when your body wants to be asleep. That's the exact time that cargo crews are flying in most cases. Over a long career, that wears on your body and your home life in ways that are hard to describe until you've actually lived through it. So this doesn't mean that cargo's a bad career. It means you should go in with your eyes open, literally. Some pilots generally adapt well to night flying. Some pilots find it affects their health and family life in ways that were worse than they expected. The pilots who struggle in cargo are usually the ones who assume that any wide-body cargo job would pay like UPS. Couldn't handle their sleep being completely wrecked, needed a really predictable schedule at home, or picked the job for the title and really didn't think about the day-to-day life experience. Cargo can be a better fit than a regional for some pilots. Just make sure you're choosing it for all the right reasons and not just the paycheck. Let's make this practical based upon where you are right now. If you're a low time or just getting started, focus on training fast and protecting your check ride record. One busted check ride doesn't end your career, but a pattern of them can have a less than desirable impact. And if you can finish a bachelor's degree, do it. Both FedEx and UPS definitely prefer having a degree. If you're a CFI building hours, the question isn't just, well, how fast can I get to 1,500 hours? It's what kind of time am I building? Can I get into turbines sooner? Is there a Part 135 or a feeder cargo gig that I should be pursuing now? Should I be looking at the Purple Runway program or the Flight Path program? These are questions that can definitely change your trajectory. If you're close to ATP minimums, now is when the cargo ladder gets real. Look seriously at ABX, ATI, Atlas, and the feeder cargo operators. You're building toward the top, but you probably have one or two more rungs left on the ladder ahead of you. And here's the mindset that matters most. The best first move is usually not the dream job. The best first move is the job that makes the dream job more realistic. So chase the next job that improves your odds of getting the one after that. All right, so that wraps up my summary of cargo. If you enjoyed this video and you think other people should see it, please do me a favor and click that like button, and be sure to leave a comment, feedback, or question of any kind, because that really helps the algorithm to show that people were engaged with the video. If this is your first time watching a video on my channel and you want to get notifications of future videos, please do smash that like button. And finally, if you visit flywithtrent.com, there's a whole bunch of additional resources that are available to you there to help you to accomplish two really important things. One, train faster. Two, save money. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name is Trent. I'll see you in the next video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.